Packing carry-on only for a trip during the cold fall and winter months can be a little tricky. And if you're not careful, it can be incredibly easy to overpack, have to pay to check your bag, or forget crucial gear that you need to stay warm. But fear not, my friends, because in this video, I'm gonna break down some of the most common cold weather packing mistakes and show you how to navigate packing for cold weather travel. Hey guys, Nick here from Away Together. At the time of filming this video, temps are dropping and the precious summer months are long gone. If you're anything like me, you've got fall and winter travel plans, but you'd really love to still pack carry-on only. This is the video for you. When my wife Allie and I were traveling full time, we had to pack for multiple seasons and climates in just one carry-on bag. This meant having the appropriate clothing for freezing temps in Latvia, Poland, Germany, and Austria on the same trip that we were visiting sweltering Thailand, Singapore, and the Philippines. Here are 9 things we learned from that experience and some mistakes that we made that you'll want to be sure to avoid. Okay, it sounds obvious, I know, but check the weather at your destination when you start planning your trip. And I would actually check it multiple times throughout the process. Google something like typical weather in Croatia in November at the beginning of your planning process to get a feel for averages and generalities. And then, as your trip is approaching, take a look at the actual weather in the places that you'll be visiting to confirm the actual temperatures and the actual precipitation forecast. We were candidly not prepared for just how rainy it was in Hallstatt when we were there a couple of months ago. If I had simply checked my weather app, I would have been convinced that I should have brought a rain jacket. Likewise, you wouldn't want to be caught without the proper clothing if the place you're headed has a sudden cold snap. A big mistake when packing for cold weather travel is overpacking. A common challenge with cold weather travel is the general bulkiness of many of the items that you might need. Think about it, a long sleeve shirt is simply more fabric than a short sleeve one. This means that you have to get even more intentional with what you bring. And using a packing checklist is my preferred way to hold myself accountable to prevent overpacking, while also making sure that I don't forget anything I need. We've got a free cold weather packing list linked below. This isn't gonna be perfect for your ski trip, okay? But it contains many of the helpful tips covered in this video. If you're traveling carry-on only, you wanna make sure you don't choose the wrong bag. Bringing a bag that's too big will mean that you've got to pay to check your luggage. And if you don't want that to happen, make sure your carry-on is under the 22-inch by 14-inch by 9-inch carry-on size requirement. This varies highly by airline, that's only a generality, so you need to check with the airline that you're gonna be flying. You may also want to think about what type of bag to bring with you. If you're headed somewhere snowy and slushy, for instance, you might prefer to wear a backpack as opposed to pushing a carry-on. Okay, there's no one right answer. This is totally up to you. I mix it up all the time, depending on my type of trip. For a carry-on roller bag, I like the Monos carry-on, especially if it's gonna be wet. This is nice because it's a hard-shelled suitcase and nothing inside will get wet. For a backpack, I just tested this nomadic McKinnon bag on a trip to Austria, and I loved how incredibly weather-resistant it is. When it comes to carry-on only travel, a big mistake is not weighing your bag, especially if you're flying anywhere outside of the USA. Now, the weight limits vary wildly by airline, so you need to look, you need to do your research, but weigh your bag before you travel. A bunch of people buy luggage scales. I personally don't find them necessary. If you're trying to get precise to within an ounce, then maybe, but really you just want to be under the limit and in the ballpark. The easiest way to check the weight of your luggage is to step onto your home scale, holding the bag, note the weight, and then weigh just yourself without the bag. Hey, real quick, if you're getting value out of this video, I would love it if you would hit that like button so YouTube will know to suggest it to other travelers like you. Thank you. Not using compression. Given the bulk of cold weather gear, having the ability to compress what you've packed is important. You'll want gear that packs pretty small, either by packing into itself or by being able to pack into compression packing cubes. I use compression packing cubes year-round because they enable you to squeeze what you're packing nice and tight. They also allow you to organize and kit like items together, which makes it easier to find what you need. These are by Eagle Creek, and although I've tested and reviewed loads of packing cubes on this channel, these are by far my favorite. Not having the right jacket when it's wet or cold can make for a miserable experience. Remember my Hallstatt example from earlier? Yeah, I really wish I'd brought my rain jacket for that. I'm a big fan of having a versatile, packable puffer jacket. It's a staple in my minimalist packing toolkit. The jacket I'm wearing now actually is the one that I carried with me for 6 months of full-time travel. It was great for cold weather. It packed super small for when I didn't need it, and it's lightweight enough that I didn't even mind it over a t-shirt on the plane a lot of times. If I ever got hot, it went into my bag very easily. If the place you're headed is windy, you need the right type of jacket that will stop wind's nasty bite. I've got good friends who live in Michigan and North Dakota, and they've got the gear for how cold winters can be in those places. But some of those jackets are huge and may not be right for travel.
What is it? I can't put my arms down!
They're too big, they're too oversized, which leads me to another big cold weather travel mistake: not dressing in layers. One of the best ways to travel carry-on only during the fall and winter months is to plan on dressing in layers. Creating a capsule wardrobe of a handful of lightweight, layerable pieces of clothing will save space in your bag, as opposed to bringing oversized sweaters, big bulky jackets, etc. Now this varies highly by destination and situation, of course, but one example for a trip to Germany I took in November was wearing a basic shirt with a lightweight fleece zip-up and a packable puffer jacket over it. I like merino wool oftentimes as my base layer because of its temperature regulating properties. A painful packing mistake for cold weather travel is forgetting sorely needed accessories like a hat, scarf, or gloves. When it comes to hats, opt for something simple that packs down small. I don't know about you, but as soon as the temps fall below like 50 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 10 degrees for you Celsius folks, my hands are like icicles. They just are. Basically from October onward, I always have a pair of gloves in my bag. I really like these Inverno gloves by Tracksmith because they are touch gloves. You can still use your smartphone without having to take them off. They're actually running gloves, but I think they're perfect for travel. They're small enough to fit in a pocket or easily slide into your bag. A lightweight scarf is a great thing to have in your bag any time of year because they're also very versatile. It could be a head or shoulder covering for modesty requirements, a blanket on a train ride or a flight, or in the winter, something to keep your neck warm. When you're trudging through the cold, the last thing you want is damp, chilly feet. Investing in high quality moisture wicking socks will keep your feet dry and warm. I swear by merino wool socks. It's like all I'll wear. And I'm a big fan of the brand Smart Wool for socks. Not only are they comfortable, but they're warm, moisture wicking, and anti-stink. A common cold weather packing pitfall is also bringing the wrong shoes. The shoes you choose to bring will of course vary highly depending on where you're going, the activities you plan, and how casual or fancy your obligations are. My tip is to opt for versatility in your footwear. If you plan on doing much walking, you need some good daily drivers that not only complement your outfits, but are warm and functional. Look for shoes with functional materials that can stand up to the elements if you're headed somewhere wet or with a lot of snow. And pay attention to the tread on the bottom of your shoes if you're headed places with cobblestones. They get super slippery when wet. Of course, I always recommend breaking in your shoes before your trip. And when it comes to packing, I advise wearing your biggest pair of shoes on the plane to save space in your bag. Personally, guys, I keep it pretty basic. I like these walking shoes by Altra, but in the cold weather months, I may trade them for a more all-weather sneaker or some kind of boot. Of course, if there's a nice dinner, I'm gonna dress it up a little bit. Allie has a 3-shoe system when it comes to how she packs for travel, and what she brings varies based on what time of year it is. You can check that video out here. Thank you so much for watching. Happy travels.